Okay, so officially welcome Sue and John to this afternoon session. So we'll just dive straight into the text today and do a meditation, and then we'll go into the lesson. We might just get it done in an hour and 10 minutes, you never know. So let me share my screen.
Could we perhaps do the meditation last, John? Because I've got to.
Yeah.
You've only got so much time anyway, but
no, the time that I said we had.
Oh right.
Yeah. No, I've hour and 10 minutes. So let's see. Yeah, we can do the meditation last, and if we have to trim it down to 10 minutes or something, we can. So, okay. So today's quote is actually from A Course in Miracles. Let's have a quick look at that. There's no need to learn through pain, and gentle lessons are acquired joyously and are remembered gladly. Which is actually a really nice quote, isn't it? Jesus is pointing us to another way of learning, saying you can actually, you're used to learning through pain, but you can learn in a much gentler way. And this way that he's given us, with forgiveness leading the way all the way, is the gentle lessons. So you're just learning your lessons instead of beating your head against the brick wall and saying, I'll do it my way. Saying, look, everything is there for forgiveness. Everything is there for helping me to let go. And so I just reinterpret everything, and it makes my life a lot easier if I do that, because I don't have all these expectations and judgments. So most people do transformation through the way of the cross. This is like intense pain and suffering. And then maybe they break through because there's so much pain that kind of cracks the shell of the ego open. And this, as I mentioned, an example, this happened for Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie, but it's unusual. It's not common that people just wake up spontaneously. So this is more the way of mastery, which is these disciplined spiritual practices. You're systematically and progressively learning a thought system. You're applying the teachings and the practices to everything you experience in your life. And that's day by day, taking these little baby steps takes you back to spirits, back to oneness. Did you enjoy the parable I mentioned?
Yeah.
So just a reminder of staying conscious in adversity, really. But Eckhart Tolle's take on it. And then listen to this. This is actually really interesting. It's a Scottish guy who I know who done a half-an-hour podcast on the true meaning of the parable, like going a bit deeper. It's quite interesting.
All right.
So definitely worth listening to. Goes into like some of the it's Christian mysticism, really. That's what he is. He's a Christian mystic, and like how he interprets that parable, and that it's just going a bit deeper than Eckhart's analysis of it. Okay, so that brings us to the lesson. So my holiness blesses the world. I want to start with paragraph 1, John.
This idea contains the first glimmerings of your true function in the world, or why you are here. Your purpose is to see the world through your own holiness. Thus are you and the world blessed together. No one loses. Nothing is taken away from anyone. Everyone gains through your holy vision. It signifies the end of sacrifice because it offers everyone his full due. And he is entitled to everything because it is his birthright as a son of God. So as an extension of pure formless awareness.
Okay, so anything about that first paragraph strike you?
It's a very high level statement. I think, it's no one loses, nothing is taken from anyone, everyone gains.
Hmm.
End of sacrifice. Everyone his full due.
Hmm.
He is entitled to everything because it is his birthright as a son of God.
Hmm.
So I think it's talking here about inner satisfaction, for want of a better word.
Hmm. Yeah, he's referring to the domain of the infinite, eternal. This kind of thing doesn't happen in the world. No one loses, nothing is taken away, everyone gains through your holy vision. This is not referring to a world of form.
No. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, because they think it does.
Yeah. They try and make this make sense in the world of form, the world of the ego. And of course they're going, how's that possible? I'm blessing the person and then no one loses. So I'm going to wave a magic wand and suddenly everything, that's bad and that involves sacrifice and loss, and there's a lot of that in this world, just disappears. And of course then the ego says, well, that's just not realistic at all. What's he talking about? So it's applying to another dimension, another domain, kingdom of heaven, domain of pure formless awareness in your mind and in the other person's mind.
Yeah.
If you really bless them in that kingdom, in that state, there is no loss. This is the idea. There's no loss there. Nothing can be taken away, right? In that domain, everything is maximal.
And
He said,
I have known people in the past that have interpreted this as, oh, we're all due to get abundance. Just expect abundance, and meantime, spend your money on your credit card, and it'll all get sorted out anyway.
Yeah, so it's not really about anything material. I mean, yeah, and so what people tend to do then is they'll attach it to the material because that's where their mind is. Their mind is still in the material world. Of course, is saying actually money is of no significance in eternity. It doesn't matter. It's just another illusion. So the abundance of of God, of heaven, has actually nothing to do with how much money you have. In fact, quite often there's an inverse correlation, because you tend to find that people who go on this path actually give up their attachment to money and material things, and so they don't desire them, they don't seek them, they don't try and earn them.
No, I think
they don't have them. I mean, well, you don't need them. Why do you need all this stuff? It's kind of the opposite from worldly abundance in many ways, saying like, let me just strip down, and I really don't need very much.
Yeah.
A lot of the true spiritual masters, you look at the lives of Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, they lived very, very simple lives on the material level. They weren't trying to accumulate lots of possessions, and it was actually very minimal. Didn't own anything. No possessions really. There was none of that. Trying to acquire stuff, because they just realized that was pointless. There was no point in trying to acquire things of the material world when they had the kingdom that was infinite within them, that just gave them everything they really needed. So yeah, it's not to misinterpret it. I mean, it's not saying you can't have it. It's not saying either way. He's saying just go there. The point is, and this is where people often go wrong, don't try and use the course to then do something in the physical that your ego wants. oh, well, I want abundance. Oh, okay. So I'll use this to get the abundance I think I want and deserve.
Yeah, I think that's the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, because it's not about that. This is about spiritual transformation. It's about recognizing who you really are. If you do that, and you really are in that, if you really do bless the world and you're really feeling this, then you're in an abundant state of mind. There's no limitation there. So you may well, if you are so called to do, if your purpose is such, and you're operating in the world like I am to an extent, it's like other business interests and so on, then maybe it comes because you're not limiting yourself. You never know. But focus on what he's saying. Just apply the lesson, and then you let everything flow accordingly. It's not like you're trying to manifest something. As I was saying to Sue, I had this conversation with this yoga lady who did a whole lot of referrals to the masterclass, and she was saying, well, just manifest it, because I was talking about my situation with the visa and so on. And so it's a different way of thinking about the world. Just manifest, no, if you really concentrate, you can get exactly what you want. And of course, this teaching is saying, but do you really know what you want? How do you know that's what you really want? Maybe it isn't what you really want. If I think about how this whole thing's played out, I mean, I would never have said, okay, yes, I'm gonna be away for over 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I would never have said that. I mean, because you just wouldn't consciously, would you? It's like, no, I should go back and be with my family, but this is the way it's played out. And on a level, I see that there is a plan. So it's allowed me to do this and get this kind of going, and there's now a bit of a foundation to build on. 2 years ago, it wasn't there. It just would have been stillborn. Nothing would have, if I'd gone back then, I wouldn't have been able to invest the time I have over the last 2 years. So there's a higher purpose to everything, and it's not what I love is Jesus's prayer. Not my way, but your way. Not my will be done, but thy will be done. That's really the surrender, which actually is a lot more peaceful and restful than trying to work it all out yourself. Because as soon as you start to go, oh well, I think this should happen, you're starting to try and direct your life and direct time and space, and you don't really know. Like how do you know what the whole plan is, and how that's going to affect the whole, and your ultimate path in this world and the various interactions? You just don't. So it's better just to say, well, I don't know. So I do my part. I do the mind training. I change my mind, and then I let the outcome be what it'll be.
It's a good job. It's a good job your wife's into A Course in Miracles, Jono.
Yeah, I mean, she has her tests and challenges as well, but at least it's a common ground. So you reference to the principles and say, well, these are the principles. We both agree on them, so we need to apply them to everything, to our lives, our relationship, and all of it. And it's sometimes challenging because the ego does want to get involved for sure.
Yeah.
But you have to just, as you say, yesterday, I just kept coming back, keep coming back to the lesson and keep coming back to the principle, because there's a principle here which is designed to help you in any situation. And stick to the principle. Okay, so you happy with paragraph 1?
Yep.
You, Sue?
There is no other way in which the idea of sacrifice can be removed from the world's thinking. Any other way of seeing will inevitably demand payment of someone or something. As a result, the perceiver will lose, nor will he have any idea why he is losing. Yet is his wholeness restored to his awareness through your vision. Your holiness blesses him by asking nothing of him. Those who see themselves as whole make no demands.
Okay, did anything strike you there?
Really like that last sentence. Those who
Mm.
see themselves as whole make no demands.
That also struck me. It's like, whoa, it's quite a thing. I mean, that's, you make no demands. You think about how the mind works and expectations, and it's quite something to live up to that. You make no demands in any situation. You don't say this is how it should be. But he's very clear. He doesn't say they only make some demands. No, they make no demands.
Yeah, because you see yourself whole and complete and perfect as you are. You have no demand for anything else.
So you need nothing on the level of form. And then the ego, practically, it's going to say, well, what happens if you're in a relationship? I mean, it's got to be like, let's say a special relationship. There's got to be give and take, and it can't all be the other person's way. But he's inviting us to take a step into something that's way beyond the ego here. You make no demand. Imagine a relationship with no demands. Wouldn't that be interesting? It's like, okay, wow, there's just total openness, and you just allow that person, the other person, to be what they are, to do what they want to do, and trust that your openness will allow that to work. And it's not the way the ego thinks at all. It has a lot of problem with that saying. I don't know if you noticed any resistance when those who see themselves as whole make no demand. You go, wow, that's actually quite a statement. It's quite a quite something to live up to. But that's what he's asking us to do. He's saying, look, this is an all or nothing deal. You can't do the somewhat. Oh, well, I make some demands. It's like, no, I'm in a state of mind where I really make no demands because everything's within. So I don't need anything to happen in the world of form. There's no worldly demands because I'm complete and whole and fulfilled within myself. And then I come from that place, and that tends to create a life where things flow more easily. It's not to say you're never going to have challenges, but it's you just flow with those. There's no neediness. There's none of that. No demands. There's no expectations, isn't it? No expectations. Because an expectation is a demand. This is what should happen. And as soon as you get into that so-called conscious manifestation, I want this to happen, so therefore I'm going to use my mind to make this happen. Then you're into the ego and you're into magic. Because I'm saying I need this to happen. It's a demand. Well, now there's an expectation. And the stronger the demand is, the more likely it is you're going to get upset because your demand's not going to be met. And then the ego's got you. And it's like, okay, well, now we can just frustrate that expectation. And then you're going to suffer because it's got you nicely hooked in, and Sue smiles. That's how it works, isn't it? It's like lures you and says, come, okay, now we got you nicely attached. Oh, okay, now we're going to create a difficulty. It's a resistance. Your expectation's not going to be met. And so then your suffering is going to seem to be justified because you have a strong expectation. And then it's got you. It's got you on that particular thing you're attached to. So that's why I say make no demands. There's no expectations. And I was playing with that idea a couple of days earlier as well, saying, well, what happens if you really just had no expectations at all of life? Again, it's quite inconceivable for the ego, but you would be free. There would be no pain or suffering possible because there's no expectation of anything.
Yeah. No,
like whatever happens just happens, and you take it equanimously. You might say, well, what would I do then? Right? So the challenge in this world is like, well, how do we balance that? Well, how do we manage that? So I'm doing various things, and I'm doing them because there's some kind of process towards an end goal. Certainly with my other business, this one, I suppose it's growing, and yes, get more subscribers and so on. The other one's like, well, honestly, would I do it if there wasn't a kind of a goal in mind that yes, I could make some of these things happen and earn money? Probably not. So then you just see how, I guess you ponder it and you see how deeply entrenched the ego is in our lives. It's like it's embedded, it's woven into the very structure of our lives. And yeah, you're going to do these things, and then there's an expectation of an outcome on the level of form, and it's woven into the whole egoic thought system and the lives we lead. And what he's trying to do here is unwind us from all of that. So it's a total letting go. It's a total disconnect from this world. And that's what he says these things, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense in this world because it goes completely against the ego's thinking. But it takes us into the true world, in the kingdom within, which is what he's always trying to do. I think this is also where people make a mistake. It's like, no, well, it's got to apply here, and ultimately it doesn't apply here. Ultimately he's pointing us beyond here entirely, to a place where there's no payment demanded, no sacrifice, but our wholeness can be restored to our awareness. His wholeness is restored to his awareness through your vision. Isn't that interesting? So by blessing him and asking nothing of him, you're reminding him of his own wholeness, that he needs nothing as a son of God, and showing him there's another thought system. And that's what he's saying there. So you be the example of that thought system, and then invite other people to join you. Okay, any questions on number 2?
No, it's good.
Okay, number 3, John.
Your holiness is the salvation of the world. It lets you teach the world that it is one with you, not by preaching to it, not by telling it anything, but merely by your quiet recognition that in your holiness are all things blessed along with you.
Got a nice feel to it, hasn't it?
It does. We've also been listening to Marion Williamson's thoughts for the day, because she's doing the course teachings each day.
Okay.
And she kind of talks about this one quite in the way of your holiness blesses the world, in the sense of, even if you say nothing, if you're tuned into your own holiness, others pick up on it. And it helps them. Which actually I felt myself yesterday, because I took lunch over to my daughter and her husband, and she was in a bit of a state when I got there. She was on her own, actually. And the first half hour or so, she was just kind of offloading. She's a teacher, and post-COVID, all the kids have come back. A lot of the kids have come back after COVID, and they're unruly. There's a lot of discipline issues, and a lot of tension in schools. And she's kind of been. Plus, she's had a knee operation recently as well, so she was a bit down. And I did. And as she was talking, I thought, well, I could suggest this and I could suggest that, and I just didn't. I just kind of stayed with the thought of the day.
And you just listened in that state of presence.
Yeah, just listened. I just stood there and listened, actually. And I could see after a while she started to look at me. instead of being downcast,
Hmm.
started to look at me, and then a bit further on, the conversation changed.
Hmm.
It lifted. It
Hmm.
was nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your holiness, you just held a state of holiness. I mean, what's holiness? It's just a state of mind where you're present in the now and you're not thinking with the ego. There's awareness, pure formless awareness arising in your mind. There's that presence, that awareness. So you're not necessarily doing anything. I mean, listening is actually a passive state. You just, okay, I'm just sitting and I'm listening. I'm not having to judge this, interpret it, come up with a response, fix it.
Yeah.
And then that just, did its miraculous work. She just felt heard. She obviously felt like you'd listened, and she then released some of that energy, and then she felt a bit better. And then she was able to be a bit more positive.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely worked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful invitation. Is one with you, not by preaching to it, not by telling it anything, but merely by your quiet recognition that in your holiness are all things blessed along with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to sit in that presence and say, well, the person is feeling whatever, your daughter's feeling upset, but actually, everything's still okay. She's actually okay. As am I, and you hold that presence of being okay. And then that's going to transmit. It's a quantum field or morphic field that we're in. And especially if you're with someone in person, they'll pick that up very quickly. That there's a presence here that's very calming, very gentle, accepting, loving, and everything's okay. It's okay there. And then you can bring them into that, rather than trying to say, okay, well, the typical ego way. You shared a problem with me, and then you go, okay, well, now we've got to fix it. So we're going to fix it mode.
Yeah.
And you should do this, and you should do this, and then the person actually feels quite kind of judged often. Saying, okay, well, I'm not actually. That's not restful. It's not peaceful. So I think, yeah, you approached it exactly the right way. So well done, because you're applying this in your life. You mentioned 2 situations now. Where, they're a bit challenging. You could have reacted in ego. You didn't. You just held the presence. And the lesson was the anchor. That's the beauty of it. It's like, okay, so this really works.
Yeah.
You stay with the lesson, you remind yourself, and then it's like, okay, that anchors me into the state, which is why he's given us these lessons. So that, we use them in situations like that. Keep reminding yourself. And then the more you do it, the more you go, well, this actually really works. As a practical, functional way of approaching life situations and apparent problems, this really works as a practical kind of technique, if you like, problem solving. And then you do it more. Okay, well, this works and the ego doesn't, so let me do this then. Okay, so that kind of brings us to the practice side of it. It's only 3 paragraphs of intro text. So shall we have a look at the lesson? I think we might just do this actually, 4 paragraphs. We've got 40 odd minutes. So this one's called the Relinquishment of Attack. So I think it's Sue's turn to read.
As we have already emphasized, every idea begins in the mind of the thinker. Therefore, what extends from the mind is still in it, and from what it extends, it knows itself. The word knows is correct here, because the Holy Spirit still holds knowledge safe in your mind through his impartial perception. By attacking nothing, he presents no barrier to the communication of God, pure formless awareness. Therefore, being is never threatened. Your godlike mind can never be defiled. The ego never was and never will be part of it. But through the ego, you can hear and teach and learn what is not true. You have taught yourself to believe that you are not what you are. You cannot teach what you have not learned, and what you teach you strengthen in yourself because you are sharing it. Every lesson you teach, you are learning.
Okay.
So it's quite a bit in there.
There is. Anything strike you? Anything you're not sure about?
I think there's a lot in that first sentence. Well, those first two sentences, actually. There's something about that, as we've already emphasized, every idea begins in the mind of the thinker. I mean, it's just got a lot of, it's got a lot of depth to it there. Every idea begins in the mind of the thinker. Therefore, what extends is from the mind is still in it. And from what it extends, from what it thinks, from what it brings into the world, it knows itself.
Yeah. So extension is this idea of instead of projecting what you don't want out into the world, you extend, and it has a different feeling to it, doesn't it? So that's why he uses the words extension and projection.
Yeah. I mean,
Love
extension
extends because it feels like, okay, yes, there's a presence in me, and it's kind of extending outwards. If I'm blessing the world, there's an extension to another person. I'm not projecting onto them, I'm extending to them. And it's subtle, these words go, well, but yes, if you observe it, there's a different quality to it than projection. Projection is always involved with attack and anger, and whereas this is saying you're just extending, there's a presence in you and you're extending something to someone else. So, okay, that presence that's in me, I see that it's in you too. That movement of the mind he calls extension rather than projection.
And it's a call in those first two sentences to teach what you are learning yourself, because by teaching it, you are extending it. By are extending what is spirit within yourself.
Yeah. From what it extends, it knows itself. So if you extend only love, if you recall, he says, teach only love, the message of the crucifixion. Teach only love, for that is what you are. So how do you come to know what you are? Well, saying one of the best ways is to teach that. Teach only love, and then you come to know that, I'm love. So this is where the idea of your purpose comes in. Purpose in this world is to teach only love in however that looks for you. Interpreting that into your life and these practical life situations is then your task. I teach only love in my life.
And the next sentence is good. The word knows is correct here, because the Holy Spirit still holds knowledge safe in your mind through his impartial perception. Knows. Reminds me of that interview with Carl Jung in 1984, 1984, 1985, 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034, 2035, 2036, 2037, 2038, 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045, 2046, 2047, 2048, 2049, 2050, 2051, 2052, 2053, 2054, 2055, 2056, 2057, 2058, 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063, 2064, 2065, 2066, 2067, 2068, 2069, 2070, 2071, 2072, about 1965, where he's asked, "Do you believe in God?" I'm pretty sure his response is, "Oh, I know God."
Mm.
And I think he's using "know" in this sense.
Mm. Yeah, know is knowledge, which is, you know, another domain. Talks about the domain of knowledge and the domain of perception. So know refers to this. Let's download this quickly and I'll just bring it up. Knowledge lies here. And God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness. So if we extend this, his whole teaching is designed to say, instead of projecting what you don't want, some false belief of the ego, you're going to extend this into these life situations that present themselves. So you extend love rather than projecting guilt and sin and attack. And now it's coming, you start to know that this is what you must be, because you're extending from that place into the world. And that's really the miracle. When you restore your mind to this, and then you speak and you act in ways that are inspired by this, it inspires your perception of the world. And that's transformative. Whereas if you project, you believe in the false self, now you're trying to get rid of what you don't want. So you project it out onto someone else. Oh, I'm not to blame, someone else is to blame. And then you project the guilt onto them, and then you've got accusation, blame, complaint, attack, and so on going on. So it's a fundamentally different approach to life, which hopefully you can see quite well from the diagram. I'm going to change the diagram, but I'm going to add in like some arrows, some blue arrows, I think. So the Holy Spirit takes you back here, reminds you of this. So the letting go process does this. It says, no, this isn't true. I'm going to deny this. I'm going to take my mind back here. I'm going to restore my mind to this. That's the forgiveness or letting go process. And then from this place, I'm then going to extend it outwards into that situation, reinterpret the situation. And that maybe means I don't necessarily do anything. I've just reinterpreted it. But I see the situation now differently from this place. And maybe I act differently and I speak differently as well. And that's the extension he's talking about. And then we teach, so how we behave and what we do on this level of form, we're teaching that this is true, that this love is still there and it's true. So I hope the diagram helps just to explain it. And then, in the last couple of things, he's saying every lesson you teach, you are learning. You cannot teach what you have not learned. What you teach, you strengthen yourself because you're sharing it. So he's saying, you must teach this thought system, because that's how you learn it. As you teach it, you strengthen the belief in it in your own mind. And that's what the path of the miracle worker is. Teach it in every situation so that you can learn it and perfect it. So you stop making exceptions. And each time you teach from this place, you undo the ego's hold. You weaken it a little bit more because you're saying, no, I believe in something else. I'm not believing in this. In separation, I'm believing in this. And I'm extending this into my thoughts, my words, my actions, all in alignment. And then you get miraculous results. Things change because you've changed your mind. And then that confirms, this thought system actually works. So therefore, this must be true. It must be coming from something if it's working. Because our challenge with this is it's formless. There's nothing tangible. You can't go, there's God. I've got it now. Put it in a box. You could argue formal religion is an attempt to do that. And then you can't really do that. You can't define what's undefinable. But you can continuously extend from it into this world of illusion. And then it teaches you that it must be there. If you keep living your life from that place, then there must be something there that's guiding you. Okay, and he says, John, you want to read number 2?
Yeah, that is why you must teach only one lesson. If you are to be conflict-free yourself, you must learn only from the Holy Spirit and teach only by Him.
Okay.
You are
translate that.
Yeah, so if you are to be conflict-free, you must learn only from the awareness of pure formless, of the awareness of love, and teach only by it. You are only love, but when you deny this, you make what you are something you must learn to remember. I said before that the message of the crucifixion was, teach only love, for that is what you are. This is the one lesson that is perfectly unified, because it is the only lesson that is one. Only by teaching it can you learn it. As you teach, so will you learn. If that is true, and it is true indeed, do not forget that what you teach is teaching you, and what you project or extend, you believe. So it's a strong reminder of you must align with love and come always from that place. Seek to come always from that.
Yeah, exactly. Teach only love, for that is what you are. A very strong reminder. As you teach, so will you learn. What you project or extend, you believe. So that's why it's so important to go to the right source. You're either going to be coming from this side, projecting from the false self, or you're going to be extending from the true self. And whichever one you do is going to teach you which world is true, which thought system is true, which world is true. It's that simple. No, you're gonna see the world from one or the other lens, but not both, because they contradict each other. You'll never make the blue and the red reconcile. They're opposites. I think the diagrams kind of show it quite nicely. It's helpful because you see these two different, very distinct thought systems that can't be reconciled. What he's saying is the mind's nature is to extend or project. You are going to extend or project, so you need to choose which one you're going to do. You're either going to be projecting from the ego, and then you're going to be teaching the ego's thought system, because that's the nature of mind. If you believe that, then you want to teach it. So you'll notice if people are in the ego, then they want to project, and they want to teach that. That's just the nature of mind. It wants to project or extend. And then likewise, people who are getting more of this, they want to share it. You want to share this and go, yeah, I want to share this because it feels good to share it and extend it. All right. So any thoughts on paragraph 2? Can we move on?
I'm good with that.
Yeah. The only safety lies in extending the Holy Spirit. because as you see his gentleness in others, your own mind perceives itself as totally harmless. Once it can accept this fully, it sees no need to protect itself. The protection of God, of pure formless awareness, then dawns upon it, assuring it that it is perfectly safe forever. The perfectly safe are wholly benign. They bless because they know that they are blessed. Without anxiety, the mind is wholly kind. And because it extends beneficence, it is beneficent. Safety is the complete relinquishment of attack. No compromise is possible in this. Teach attack in any form, and you have learned it, and it will hurt you. Yet this learning is not immortal, and you can unlearn it by not teaching it. That's good.
Okay, want to give a little summary of that?
Know yourself that you are perfectly safe. You have no need to attack. And you bless others knowing that you are blessed. Then you can unlearn attack defense by not teaching it, not doing it.
Safety is a complete relinquishment. So again, there's no compromise. So you can't allow one attack thought in, because one attack thought makes the ego real. You attacked yourself by that attack thought. One attack thought makes the entire thought system of something other than love real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The complete relinquishment of attack is required, because this thought system is an attack on God or love or oneness. Oh no, I'm not that, I'm something else. So as long as I believe in attack on any form, on any level in this mad illusion, I'm believing that I have actually attacked God. I have attacked love, and my attack is successful. It's actually done something. It's real, it's true, and it's caused a whole lot of consequences, which now seem to be real, and I seem to have to deal with them. That's why I'm saying only the complete relinquishment of attack will work, because there's no attack in God or love or oneness. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense from the metaphysics of the course. And you notice these lessons, I think it's quite useful to have a diagram, keep referencing to it, because each lesson is pointing you back to this truth, the fundamental truth, the whole teaching, is based on this truth. So it's useful just to keep referencing back to it, which is really what the lessons are about. Lessons teach us to apply the truth and the text as well, to apply this into this mad scrum, this mad illusion. And then as we apply it, we learn, well, this must be true. You see, if I keep applying it over and over, there's something here, this must be true. Because I keep applying it and it actually works. It kind of makes sense of a crazy world. So therefore it must be there. Then I start to not just believe it, but know that it's there, know that it's true. So I teach what I need to learn until I don't need to learn it anymore, until I know that, yes, I am that presence. Know thyself, it's an ancient spiritual injunction. And then this ties in quite nicely with today's lesson, doesn't it? The perfectly safe are wholly benign. They bless because they know that they are blessed.
Yeah.
Well, exactly what he's saying here. We can bless because we know we are blessed. My holiness blesses the world. How can I bless the world if I don't know that I'm blessed? You and the world are blessed together. You see the world through your own holiness. Okay, so what he's saying here is your pure formless awareness extends into the world. It now transforms your perception of this. You're coming from this deeper place, this pure formless awareness. And so as you bless the world, you extend outwards. You must also bless yourself because you become more and more aware of this. And of course, this is what blesses you. This is what gives you the peace and the love and the joy that are the blessings of God. So it makes total sense. I mean, you look at psychologically, this is a very true and robust framework that he's giving us. Can you see that? It's actually impossible. It's impossible if you really honest to deny what he's saying is true. It makes complete sense. Yes, I'm extending into this world, and then so that blesses me as well, because then I'm more aware of this, which is if I'm aware of that, then I'm blessed because I experience it as my reality, and it feels really peaceful and happy and loving. So then I'm blessed by these gifts of God. As I extend them, I experience them. So there's no loss. That's what I'm saying. There's no loss, sacrifice. As I give, I receive it. That makes complete sense, doesn't it? If you really look at the logic of his thought system, you can't really argue with it. It makes complete sense. And this makes no sense at all to do this, which is what he's trying to show us. This makes no sense, and this makes complete sense. So just believe this. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Okay, so happy with number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you cannot not teach, your salvation lies in teaching the exact opposite of everything the ego believes. This is how you will learn the truth that will set you free, and will keep you free as others learn it of you. The only way to have peace is to teach peace. By teaching peace, you must learn it yourself, because you cannot teach what you still dissociate. Only thus can you win back the knowledge that you have. An idea that you share, you must have. It awakens in your mind through the conviction of teaching it. Everything you teach, you are learning. Teach only love, and learn that love is yours, and you are love. Sums up the whole lesson, really.
Yeah, okay, a nice feel-good paragraph.
The alternative to projection.
Yeah, well, this one's the relinquishment of attack, but it's the alternative to projection is the relinquishment of attack, so it's all related. And it leads nicely into the next, in section 5, is that whole section on peace. You must teach peace to learn it. So it's preparing us for this. That the only way to have peace is to teach peace. Teaching peace, you must learn it yourself. You cannot teach what you still dissociate. But instead of the dissociation of the ego, just denying the truth, dissociating this, we must accept it for ourselves, find the peace in our own minds, and then teach it. And so, like yesterday, you just taught peace. You went in there and your daughter was enturbulated, and you just held a presence that's peaceful. And you taught it just by your presence. And so then you confirm in your mind that this must be true. There is this presence of peace, and it's always there, it's always available. And you can teach it in any situation. It's possible. You just have to hold to this awareness. And so the importance of teaching, he said, only thus can you win back the knowledge that you threw away. So he's saying it's so important that you teach this through your words, your thoughts, your actions. You express this. So it's integral in one line. It's no good just knowing the theory, and then in your life, you don't apply it. You must, it's application. Teaching is application, isn't it? You must apply it in your life, in these practical situations. Which is why he calls students of the course teachers of God. You know, you become a teacher of God, a teacher of this presence, this awareness, this peace, because you must teach it to learn it. There's no option in this. You're either going to be teaching the ego and learning that thought system, or teaching the spirit and learning that. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
Saying just choose correctly. And then, you know, to speak to your thing on purpose, has that clarified totally in your mind, Sue?
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's very clear what my purpose is. There's no, it's just to do this, to teach this in every situation. Teach only love, for that is what I am. And then how does that apply in every situation? That's all, that's your job. It's not anything on the level of form. I mean, that might unfold for you, but actually, if you just dedicate your life to this, okay, how do I teach love in this situation? And you really ask honestly, then you're living on purpose. That's your purpose. And it never needs to manifest in any grandiose form at all. Right? You're in the return movement back to beingness. So, you know, you don't need to manifest a form. You've done your business thing, and it's just like, okay, in each situation, I'm being truly helpful. That's what it's about. I'm teaching only love, and then I learn that love is mine, and I am love. And that's my purpose. And it's actually very simple. It's very simple, and it's very attainable. Not some grandiose, and you can do it in any situation.
Yeah, I can do it straight away.
Straight away. So there's no like, oh, well, I'm waiting for my purpose sometime down the line, which is exactly what the ego wants you to do. Oh, no, it's somewhere out there, somewhere down the line. Keep seeking, instead of like, well, it's right here now in this situation. You know, here it is. Like, I can live my purpose right now. In every situation, moment by moment. And then life gives you the opportunity to do that. So John, the two experiences you mentioned, you know, that's just living your purpose in those situations, bringing it into each situation and seeing it differently and bringing in a different energy. Okay, so happy with this paragraph? Can you give me a little 1-minute summary of it, John? The whole thing, like what's the key takeaway of this?
Giving, yeah. I think it's stressing the importance of, but it's kind of showing us the danger of attack thoughts and encouraging us to align with love. Make the effort to align with love, and by so doing, we actually give up attack thoughts without effort.
Yeah, relinquishment of attack. There's two things. The relinquishment of attack is the teaching of love and only love. So saying, you know, this is about letting go of these attack thoughts entirely and teach only love, teach only peace, because that's how you relinquish attack entirely. In each situation, instead of interpreting from the ego, which is projecting, and projection and attack are totally related, as he explained. He's saying, just go here, correct your mind, go here, and extend only love, And then you teach only love. And this is how you teach yourself that actually you're perfectly safe and there is no attack. You just keep going back here. And you keep denying the reality of this entire thought system. So the relinquishment of attack is accomplished by teaching only love. I think that would be like the one sentence summary of that paragraph for me. Teaching only love and peace. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes. Do you want to do a quick meditation?
I'm actually going to skip Jono, because I've got to just get something to eat and go.
Okay.
But,
Sue, do you want to do it?
Yes, yep.
okay.
Okay. Have you got
Jono.
any? All right. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Enjoy your band practice. Sue, have you got 10 minutes then?
I have.
Okay. All right. We'll get it done in 10 then. Okay. So just making yourself comfortable. Sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in. Through the nose, notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Feeling the energy rising up the spine. Clenching your sphincter muscle. It's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. Just lock the energy in. Draw it up to your heart center. You can put one hand on your heart. Just connecting in with your heart space. Take another sip of air in, so it's a maximal inhale breath. To the chest, your lungs are completely full. Feel this warm wave of energy rising up into the crown of your head. So just repeat today's idea to yourself. My holiness blesses the world. Open your eyes briefly. Look around. Say, my holiness blesses. Just select 3 or 4 objects around you. Blesses this chair. Blesses that window. My holiness blesses this body. Holiness blesses this floor. Just randomly, whatever happens to be in your vision, apply it slowly and deliberately. Close your eyes again. Take another sip of air in. So top yourself up. Now look within and apply the idea to any person who occurs to you. Using his or her name and saying, my holiness blesses you. And then name the person. And if anyone else comes to mind, do the same thing with them. My holiness blesses you. Name them, exhale. And have a sense of just extending this blessing that comes from your own awareness, true awareness. You extend that to the person. So you're kind of sharing, there's a sharing of this awareness, really. That's what extension means. Sharing or extending of pure forms awareness of love. And you feel that feels good, it feels wholesome, feels right, true. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, so you completely empty your air of lungs, your lungs of air. Just rest here for a few moments in the peace and the stillness. Remind yourself, my holiness blesses personal people, and my holiness, because my holiness blesses the world. Now open your eyes, Look around. Apply the idea again to whatever you see. My Holiness blesses this carpet. My Holiness blesses this sofa. My Holiness blesses this computer, and so on. Just do that for, say, half a dozen objects, very slowly and deliberately. And close your eyes again and do the inner aspect of it. My Holiness blesses you, and then apply it to any person who comes to mind. Maybe they come to mind in a particular context, a situation. So breathe into that. Imagine you breathing in the holiness, this pure formless awareness. You say, my Holiness blesses you. And you feel that there's a sharing. So as you hold a person in mind, you breathe the holiness, the awareness of pure formless awareness. This is what holiness is. Into your mind, into your heart. Just by holding them in that space, in your mind, in the state of pure formless awareness, then you bless them. So as you exhale, have a sense of extending this awareness to them. It's a sharing of it, extension of it, and so you teach only love, for that is what you are. Teaching only this presence, this awareness. Feel the extension of it. It's not really going outwards, it's actually going inwards. Thinking of another person, but it's actually connecting with you with your own true self, your own pure formless awareness. So just for a minute, remind yourself of the key idea, my Holiness blesses the world, and sit quietly in this state of blessing for a minute of silence. And experience the blessing that is given you. As you give it, so you receive it. So receive it now for the next minute of deep silence. Just allow the peace, the love, the joy, whatever else to arise for you. As you watch your breath quietly for the next minute of deep silence. And so just gently coming back to awareness of the body and the breath, and the senses and the world. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Scan your mind for any people that occur to you. Remind yourself, my Holiness blesses you. Name them. And as you exhale, have a sense of just extending that blessing to everyone, to all the world. This is a blessing outwards. You bless the people you know in your life, everyone you don't know, and you feel that blessing yourself. You are blessed in the love that is blessing. You have the peace that you extend. To learn peace, we must teach peace. Exhale on the count of 2. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Breathing in through your nose. Noticing any smell on your nose as you do that. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing. Without any judgment, you're just in the state of pure formless awareness. It doesn't judge or interpret or label. Sense perceptions. Connect with the blessing that's there. Remind yourself, my holiness blesses the world. So my holiness blesses me. My holiness blesses everyone I can think of. Anyone comes to mind, remind yourself, my holiness blesses you. Name them. And now on the count of 3, you can open your eyes. And just take another 30 seconds just to look around. Remind yourself, my holiness blesses whatever you see. Do that for half a dozen objects. Very casually and randomly. Don't select anything or avoid anything. My holiness blesses this, whatever it is. This body, you see John walking around. My holiness blesses this body. My holiness blesses this hand. You can look at your hand. My holiness blesses whatever's around you. And then one more time, remind yourself, my holiness blesses everything I see because my holiness blesses the world. And that's the practice period done. So try and practice this again. Sent you a couple of breath breaks to help you to do it. Jesus recommends 4 times. So if you've done it once this morning, you've done it once, now do it another 2 times. And then frequent reminders through the day. If you just bring someone to mind and say, my holiness blesses you, or you can just apply it to the external world. My holiness blesses whatever's around me. That only needs to take a few seconds. But I've sent you a shorter breath break to help you with that, which is just over 3 minutes. So I wish you good practicing.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I will see you tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Have a good practice. Okay. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye-bye.